Hello and welcome to this Wednesday edition of the World Report. I'm Ankit Tyagi. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the globe. United States President Donald Trump has ordered all immigrants living illegally in the country must register with the federal government or face heavy fines and imprisonment. The $5 million gold card that can grant U.S. residency to wealthy foreigners. U.S. President Donald Trump says he's open to attracting one-of-kind immigrants, people with money. Trump told reporters he will replace EB-5, Immigrant Investor Visa Program, which allows foreign investors of large sums of money that can create or preserve United States jobs to become permanent residents with the gold card.
Selling a gold card. You have a green card, this is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful.
Kyiv has reportedly agreed terms with Washington on minerals deal that Ukrainian officials hope will improve relations with the Donald Trump administration and pave the way for long-term security commitment. The Ukrainian president will travel to Washington on Friday to finalize the major minerals deal with Donald Trump, as reported by Reuters. As per the reports, Ukrainian officials said Kyiv was ready to sign the agreement on jointly developing its mineral resources, including oil and gas, after the U.S. dropped demand for right to $500 billion in potential revenue from the deal.
I hear that. I hear that he's coming on Friday. Certainly, it's okay with me if he'd like to. And he would like to sign it together with me. And I understand that's a big deal, very big deal. And I think the American people, even if you look at polling, they're very happy because, you know, Biden was throwing money around like it's cotton candy.
According to reports, the final details of the minerals deal, including the amount of money that Ukraine will pay to the United States, are not yet known. At stake are more than 100 major deposits of critical minerals that Ukraine controls. They include titanium, lithium, uranium, and rare earths, which are used in many high-tech sectors. Now, what does this deal actually entail? According to a draft accessed by many media organizations, Ukraine would contribute to a fund which is half in its size of its revenues from the future monetization of natural resources. On the other hand, the US is expected to own maximum financial interest in the fund. So what does Ukraine actually get from this? The fund is designed in a way that would enable reinvestment of some revenues into Ukraine. However, the agreement lacks American security guarantees for Ukraine, something Zelensky has been pushing for a while. Lastly, in a big relief for Zelensky, the draft does not include the demand that Ukraine contribute $500 billion to a fund owned by the US. Reports suggest that both the US and Ukraine seem to agree to the deal. More details will emerge when Zelensky meets Trump later this week.
A report that Canada could be ousted from the Five Eyes intelligence sharing alliance was publicly denied by the senior advisor of Donald Trump on Tuesday, but experts say risk remains that Canadian assumption about security cooperation with the United States will be tested in the months ahead. Russia said it's working on bringing 16 children back from Ukraine and plans to reunite 10 children with their relatives in Ukraine. Moscow claims these exchanges only involve relatives or legal guardians. Ukraine accuses Russia of abducting over 19,500 children during the war, calling it a war crime. Under the United Nations definition of genocide, Kyiv says 1,277 children have been brought back so far. Several exchanges have taken place since Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. Russia insists it's evacuating children for their safety from the war zones. Russia and Iran say they have aligned their positions on Iran's nuclear program during the talks in Tehran. Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov met Iran's President Masoud Kazakhstan and Foreign Minister Sayed Abbas Lavrov said Moscow believes diplomacy can still resolve nuclear concerns. The United Nations nuclear watchdog reports Iran continues to enrich uranium well beyond commercial needs, raising global concerns. However, Iran denies seeking nuclear weapons. Lavrov's visit also covered regional issues including Syria, Lebanon, and Israel-Palestine conflict. A large-scale power outage swept across Chile on Tuesday, disrupting metro services, traffic, and hospital operations. The National Electrical Coordinator reported the blackout began at 15:16 local time due to a failure in the country's transmission system, cutting electricity from the northern city of Arica to the southern Los Lagos region. The disruption also impacted traffic and hospitals, with traffic lights out in multiple cities causing road chaos, while hospitals relied on backup generators to operate. Chile's Minister Carolina Toja said at a press conference the Disaster Risk Management Committee is holding an emergency meeting to assess the scope of the blackout, pledging to work until the services are restored. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer has set out plans to increase defence spending to 2.5% of the national income by 2027 as peace talks to end the war in Ukraine gather pace. The Prime Minister said he would cut the UK's international aid budget to fund the rise in defence spending, which is currently 2.3% of the GDP. Opposition parties welcomed the move to suspend and spend more on the defence, but the aid cuts were branded a betrayal by charities. The announcement comes ahead of high-stakes meeting between the Prime Minister of United Kingdom and President Donald Trump at White House. Trump has been urging European Union to spend more on defense as global powers attempt to broker a deal to end the war in Ukraine.
Mr. Speaker, we should not pretend that any of this has been easy. Working people have already felt the cost of Russian actions through rising prices and bills. Nonetheless, one of the great lessons of our history is that instability in Europe will always wash up on our shores, and that tyrants like Putin only respond to strength. Russia is a menace in our waters, in our airspace, and on our streets. They've launched cyber attacks on our NHS.
The Vatican has said Pope Francis remains in critical condition with double pneumonia. The 86-year-old pontiff has been hospitalized in Rome for nearly 2 weeks, his longest stay during his papacy. Despite his condition, the Pope is continuing some work, including meetings with top Vatican officials on sainthood cases and new appointments. In fact, his parameters remain stable and doctors report no further respiratory crises. The Vatican says his prognosis remains guarded. The Pope's only high-profile visitor so far has been Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. G20 finance ministers and central bankers are meeting in South Africa, but the talks are overshadowed by sharp divisions and major absences. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Japan's finance minister, and EU Economy Commissioner are skipping the summit. Key issues such as climate finance, debt relief for poorer countries, and inequality are expected to see little progress. Analysts say US absence further complicates consensus. Host President Cyril Ramaphosa focus on debt reforms and climate finance faces resistance from wealthier nations. Brazil's President Luiz Lula da Silva has replaced Nisa Haddad as the health minister, appointing Alexandre Filho in her place. Fidiha, who currently handles institutional relations for Lula, will be sworn in on March 6. This marks the second cabinet reshuffle this year, following the decline in Lula's approval rating. Reports also suggest Lula may appoint Workers' Party leader Hoffman as his new institutional relations minister. These changes reflect Lula's attempt to strengthen the government amid political changes. Armed gangs have launched a fresh attack on Haiti's capital, killing multiple residents in the Delmas neighborhood. Witnesses say some victims were burnt alive, including a mother and a child. The attack has forced more families to flee, adding to the growing humanitarian crisis. Nearly 10% of Haiti's population, over 1 million people, have been displaced as gangs expand their control over the capital. The police have yet to respond to the latest violence. Gang alliances have become powerful and well-funded, leaving the government struggling to regain control. Colombian police apprehended a 40-year-old man attempting to smuggle several bags of cocaine concealed beneath a meticulously shaped toupee. Police said the suspect was detained at the airport on Monday as he prepared to board a flight to Amsterdam. A scanner revealed hidden cargo, about 220 grams of cocaine packaged in small bags strategically placed under the narco wig. Police estimate the street value of the drugs at approximately 10,000 euros in the European market.
Y por intermedio del escáner y un registro a persona se halla que tiene una peluca, la cual contenía más de 220 gramos de cocaína, el cual pretendía llevar a este país, y con esto se atacan las rentas criminales, un precio aproximado de más de 10.000 euros en territorio europeo. Y esta ya es la segunda captura que se realiza en el aeropuerto en estos controles.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen will visit India on 27th of February and will be here till 28th, along with the European Union College of Commissioners at the invitation of Prime Minister Modi. Talks will focus on long-pending free trade agreement, the EU-India Trade and Technology Council, and the shaping a new strategic agenda. This marks the first visit of the entire EU college outside Europe, highlighting India's growing importance as a strategic partner. Mr. Modi and Ms. von der Leyen will co-chair a plenary session with bilateral minister meeting also planned. Discussions will cover key trade and technology issues, including artificial intelligence, with India set to host the next AI Action Summit. As the world's largest religious congregation is drawing to a close, more than 1 crore devotees are expected to attend the 2025 Kumbh Mela's final Amrit Snan. The Uttar Pradesh government has made elaborate arrangements to deal with the massive influx of pilgrims on the last day of the Kumbh, including making the Mela area no vehicle zone since Tuesday. We're slipping into a short break. Much more on the other side. Stay tuned. Boeing has streamlined the role of Stephanie Pope, now focusing solely on leading its commercial airlines division. Now, Pope, previously the company's chief operating officer, will now concentrate on improving safety and ramping up aircraft production after a series of accidents, including a 737 MAX mid-air blowout in January 2024. Boeing will not fill the COO position following this restructuring, despite years of production challenges after the 2 fatal 737 MAX crashes. Boeing's delivery are recovering, with 45 planes delivered in January, the highest monthly figure since 2023. Tesla's post-election pop has almost disappeared. Shares of the electric vehicle maker plunged more than 8% on Tuesday, pushing the company's market cap below $1 trillion and its lowest since November 7th, which was 2 days after President Donald Trump's election victory. CEO Elon Musk has also lost more than $100 billion in net worth over that stretch, though he is still the world's richest person with a fortune valued at $380 billion. Warner Brothers Discovery is shutting down 3 gaming studios, Players First Games, Warner Brothers Games San Diego, and Monolith Productions, and profitability push. The closure halts development on Monolith's Wonder Woman game. This move mirrors industry trends, with companies like Microsoft and Sony also closing gaming offices last year due to weak sales and high inflation. Warner Brothers now plans to focus on key franchises such as Harry Potter, Mortal Kombat DC, and Game of Thrones, following the disappointing performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. A US judge has ruled Meta platforms must face a lawsuit alleging it prefers hiring foreign workers to save costs. 3 US citizens claim Meta rejected them despite being qualified, favoring H-1B visa holders. Court data shows 15% of Meta's US workforce holds H-1B visas compared to 0.5% nationwide. The lawsuit follows Meta's $14.25 million settlement in 2021 over similar allegations. Meta denies claims and plans to defend itself. Apple shareholders have voted to keep the company's diversity, equity and inclusion policies. This comes after a conservative group wanted Apple to scrap these efforts, arguing they could lead to discrimination cases. The vote was a big win for Apple management, with over 8.8 billion votes in favor of keeping DEI policies. The push to remove them coincided with President Trump's criticism of DEI programs, calling them discriminatory. Apple says it actively avoids legal risk, and its DEI program, like supporting black colleges in the United States, teaching coding to indigenous groups in Mexico, and aiding Aboriginal justice reform in Australia, remain key to its global mission. CEO Tim Cook stressed Apple's success comes from hiring diverse talent and fostering collaboration. However, he admitted legal challenges could force some adjustments in future. Meta platform is reportedly discussing plans for a massive $200 billion data center project focused on AI. Potential locations include Louisiana, Wyoming, and Texas. This follows Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's announcement of a $65 billion AI infrastructure investment this year. Meta's move comes as rivals like Microsoft and Amazon plan AI-related spending exceeding $80 billion and $75 billion respectively. The surge in AI investment follows the launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT in 2022 as tech giants race to enhance AI capabilities. Alibaba has its AI model WAN 2.0, which generates images and videos from text publicly available. The model includes 4 versions, with the largest processing 14 billion parameters for more accurate results. Available on Alibaba's Cloud's Model Scope and Hugging Face WAN 2.1 leads the V-Bench's video generative model rankings. Alibaba also previewed a reasoning model, QWQ Max, set for open source release, and announced $52 billion investment in AI and cloud infrastructure over 3 years. Chinese AI startup DeepSeek in fast-tracking the release of its R2 AI model initially scheduled for May. The move follows R1 model, which outperformed several Western rivals and triggered a $1 trillion sell-off in global markets. DeepSeek hopes R2 will deliver better coding performance and multilingual reasoning capabilities. Despite initial regulatory concerns over mass chip purchases, China now supports DeepSeek's rapid growth. Industry experts believe R2's launch could disrupt the AI sector by challenging the dominance of major US tech companies. Afghanistan faces against England today in the crucial ICC Champions Trophy match at Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. Meanwhile, Afghanistan has won the toss and decided to bat first. England, a tournament favourite, will look to dominate with the strong batting lineup, but Afghanistan, known for its spin attack and recent upsets, could pose a tough challenge. Both teams are eyeing vital points to secure spot in the knockout stage. The match promises exciting cricket action as fans watch to see if England asserts its dominance over Afghanistan, or is it Afghanistan that pulls the surprise. Lionel Messi has been fined an undisclosed amount after grabbing a New York City FC coach by the neck following Inter Miami's 2-2 MLS opener. Now, the league's disciplinary committee issued the penalty after video footage showed the incident. Messi's teammate Luis Suarez was also fined for pinching defender Burke Risa's neck at halftime. Inter Miami's faces Sporting Kansas City in Confederation of North Central America and Caribbean Association Football Champions Cup later today. Diana Taurasi, the WNBA's all-time leading scorer, has retired after 2 decades with Phoenix Mercury. The 42-year-old secured WNBA titles, and 6 Olympic medals, more than any other basketball player. Tyaghi's 10,646 career points outpaced the next highest scorer by nearly 3,000, calling her the greatest to have ever played the game. Mercury owner Matt Ishbia praised her leadership and legacy and said, in fact, Tyagi said that she's stepping away as she feels full and happy after a record-breaking career. Anthony Kim revealed that he has been diagnosed with blood clot in leg, but assured fans he's recovering. Kim, who is 39 years old, shared he began feeling unwell 2 weeks before Live Golf Riyadh and confirmed the diagnosis on Instagram. Renowned chef Wolfgang Puck offered a sneak preview of his menu for the 97th Oscars Governor's Ball in Los Angeles on Tuesday. The 97th Academy Award ceremony, followed by Governor's Ball, is all set for Sunday in Hollywood. Listen in to what Wolfgang Puck has to say.
So we always do some of our classical dishes. For example, like the chicken pot pie, the macaroni and cheese. We have our tuna cones, we have our pizza, we have the smoked salmon Oscars. And then we change every day. Like we got some amazing shrimps this year, so we're gonna make some pad thai noodles with shrimps. We're gonna make a delicious beef Wellington. We're gonna have also like fish and chips, like that's from our restaurant in London. Elliot, the chef from Cut in London, is here. So, and then I have Mike, who came all the way from Austria to make the beef goulash with the spätzle, and I have Eric here, who has made this amazing pâtés. I was telling him for years, I said, I want to like to taste some great pâtés, and we have our friends from Cinque Horta here. They brought their ham and Miyazaki beef. Where is the beef?
Right behind you.
You give me a beef. All right, now look at that. So this is from the Miyazaki province in Kyushu in southern Japan. So they are providing us the beef for many, many years already. So we love it, and it's so tender you don't need a knife to cut it.
Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu and Finn Cole walked the red carpet on Tuesday for New York premiere of Last Breath, based on a real incident in 2012. This intense film tracks a second team of seasoned deep-sea divers racing against the elements to rescue their crewmates stranded hundreds of feet underwater. They discussed how impactful it was to meet the divers involved in the real accident. All right, that's all the time that we have. News and updates will continue here on NDTV World. Take care.